Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. So I never finished telling you my Kratom story. I realized I had told you that I had quit. I had made a couple videos. I made a couple videos after like the first 2-3 months. And then I never really told you how it all turned out. So I feel like I owe you explanation, or I owe you the end of the story or whatever, an update. So the fact is, actually, I did record a video a couple times, but to be honest, it was so cringy that I didn't post it. I'm gonna show you some of it now, but at the time, I made the video and I watched it and I was like, oh, I can't tell people that. So I'm gonna show you some footage that I recorded in January. We're now in September. The footage was recorded in January when I was I don't know, 9 months after doing my detox. And I'm telling you about what happened the previous summer, which I had never told. So anyway, here it is. Here's the footage. Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. Well, last summer I did a video where I talked about my experience quitting Kratom. And I want to say to YouTube, this is not like a Kratom promoting video. This is actually just an account of my experience. So don't send me to the meat grinder, please. Eventually I decided that whatever it was doing that had been good was, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't really helping me, and I was definitely dependent on it. And I was starting to have problems from being dependent on it, as in I had to take a dose of it every 3 or 4 hours, or my joints would really hurt. And my mood would be really low. So I said, well, this is, it's not what I want, right? So I got off it, and that's when I made that other video. What happened though was I started having more physical problems. I mean, even after the detox. Because I have this joint pain, which is really bad and not related to Kratom. I started having such bad pain with my shoulders, and there was nothing I could do. Tylenol didn't do anything. I started taking a lot of Advil. And then the Advil, I think, eventually was hurting my stomach. So I had to stop using Advil. I mean, it was so bad that I went to the clinic and I said, there's something really wrong with my stomach. They didn't take it very seriously, but it did eventually go away. I also ended up at the emergency because my back was so bad. I mean, the pain was so bad that I was going into shock. I had something went out, and I had pain the night before, and I took a couple Advils, of course, more Advil, and went to bed. And the next morning, the pain was so bad, and I've been through childbirth, so I know what bad pain is. It was so bad that I was getting cold, and I was starting to shake, and I was, oh my God, this isn't good. I was getting freaked out. Took another Advil. Went up to the ER. They thought I had cancer. I never told you this. They were convinced I had a tumor somewhere. So they didn't send me for a back x-ray. They sent me to oncology scans, which was scary. I was up there in the Saku-Koivu Cancer Center. They did some ultrasounds, pelvic. They thought I had a gynecological cancer. And they were like, well, you don't have cancer. So I thought, oh, I don't have cancer. So I never went back to the ER to bug them more about okay, then what's wrong with me? Because by that time I'd been there so long. And I was just okay, I don't have cancer, fine, whatever it is, I can just live with it. I go home. So I left, and but it was really intense, and my back went out like that 3 times in the last 6 months, and of course I couldn't take any Kratom, so my shoulders got so bad. It's hard for me to drive my car. It's hard for me to use a keyboard. The other day I was trying to just lift my arm to use a mouse, and I couldn't even lift my arm. I mean, whatever's wrong with my joints, it's not normal. My hips burning all the time. I found out that I knew that my grandmother had been sort of crippled by something with her hips, and she was walking with one leg turned out, where she was dragging one leg behind her. My aunt apparently now has this, and my great-grandmother was so debilitated that she couldn't even walk at the end because of this. She'd have to hold on to things. So I kind of think there's something genetic that's wrong with my hips. So when I stopped using the Kratom, what happened was actually I had a lot more pain. I have pain all the time. Sometimes it was so bad I was just lying in bed, and it was pain all the way down into my bones, pain that made me feel like I was trapped in my body. So my sponsor after a while was like, it seems like since you've gotten into the program, you're going to a lot of doctors. Oh yeah, besides the thyroid, that like my throat swelling and everything. She says, yeah, you've been going to see a lot of doctors. And I was like, yeah, because now I have to deal with all this pain. It's not, they're not 100% sure yet what is wrong with me. I've been brushed off a lot over the last X amount of years, which probably had a lot to do with why I ended up medicating myself with Kratom, because I would go to the doctor and they wouldn't take it seriously. They'd be like, oh, you're just under a lot of stress, you have an autistic child, you know, you're just neurotic. So you might be wondering, well, if it's so bad, why don't I take Kratom? And I'm going to tell you, first of all, I don't want that whole dependency thing. I was tired of it. And it does work as a painkiller. I mean, it's really good. But I don't think that I know there's a lot of hype on, okay, I know a lot of people talk about the opiate pain-killing properties in Kratom. But the amount that I was using, I think I overestimated in my other video. I was using like a 1/4 teaspoon, 4 to 6 times a day. A normal Kratom dose is, they say, like 5 grams or more. I mean, that's like 1.5 teaspoons. I never used that much. So how could I be getting opiate-like property pain-killing from that when the amount I use is so small? It would be like saying, you know, go and use 1/4 of a codeine pill to fix your pain, and oh, that's really powerful painkiller. It's not really, right? So I kind of have my doubt, and even after all these years, why is it still working, you know? I should have a tolerance. It shouldn't be killing pain at all. But there are other things in there. There's some, it's like a whole mix of a whole bunch of different chemicals in there. So there's the mitragynine and hydroxymitragynine. That's the opiate-like one. I kind of have my doubts that that's what was killing my pain. There's also some anti-inflammatory properties. I tend to think maybe that was more to do with what was working for me. I really don't know. I don't think it's all placebo. It was definitely doing something. There's also a muscle relaxant. I think that might have been something that was helping me in the past when I had a back pain. The muscle relaxant in the Kratom. I'm not promoting it. I'm just telling you, it's not just one thing. It's not like when you take opium and it's just one thing. It's a whole bunch of different things, and I think they each actually do something. So it was helpful for restless leg syndrome because of the muscle relaxant, anti-muscarinic. It was helpful for pain because whatever. Okay, but there's a reason why really I don't want to use it, and I found out what's in it that was giving me like an unpleasant effect. And as I was looking through all the different chemicals that are in there, I noticed that one of them says acetylcholine blocking. So really, acetylcholine blocking, that doesn't sound good. Because you know when people get dementia, they're producing acetylcholine esterase, which is eating up acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is a very important neurotransmitter if you want your brain to be working properly. The patches that they give my mother who has Alzheimer's is an anti-choline esterase inhibitor to stop eating up her acetylcholine. So you don't want something that's blocking acetylcholine. People even take NAC, N-acetylcysteine, because it makes your brain produce more acetylcholine. Like acetylcholine is generally a good thing, unless you have like Parkinson's or something. Sometimes you have to block it. So, you know, for those symptoms. But blocking acetylcholine is going to slow down your brain. And I always felt that when I was taking Kratom, I was a bit foggy, even small amounts of it. And I really think that that's why. And that's why I really don't want to take it anymore. Because, look, it's not only Kratom that has acetylcholine blocking properties, and they call that anticholinergic. Okay, Kratom's not the only anticholinergic. Parkinson's drugs, including what they would have given me for restless leg syndrome, that's anticholinergic. Also, all these allergy pills, anticholinergic. And there's a whole bunch of other things too. I'm not sure about opiates. But it's just not something you want to be taking long term, especially if you're getting older. And it's supposed to be, it's only, the stuff that's in there, okay, it's called speciosiliatine. That's the anticholinergic. It's supposedly it's only 1% of the makeup of your dose of Kratom. But I think from my experience that 1% has an effect. Because I just kept feeling like my thoughts are just slipping away from me all the time. See, it's not happening right now. I'm able to like continue with what I'm saying and not completely lose my train of thought, which is how I was before. But I definitely noticed that effect. You guys probably noticed it too. I'm making videos and it's like, maybe you didn't notice because I did a lot of editing. I mean, you know, look, it was a really small amount. I'm not sure how much is the kratom and how much was depression or fatigue or whatever else, but I do feel like it was having an effect, and it's not one that I want. So you see what I'm saying? Like, that anticholinergic effect to me is such a big negative that I am living with the pain now, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen down the road. Okay, so that's what happened. That's what happened last summer. And what can I say? I mean, look, I'm not addicted to kratom anymore, so that's good. I don't have to take kratom all day. However, I've had like some health problems that I've been having to deal with that I realized the kratom was kind of masking, or maybe, you know, helping with in a way. Like, I have apparently Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I wouldn't have known, right? If I hadn't ended up in so much pain and ended up like, well, also because I took my son to the doctor, and it was kind of by accident that I found out. I have arthritis in my hips and my shoulders. I wouldn't have known that if I just kept taking kratom, because I didn't have this pain, that intense pain, while I was taking kratom. So it kind of, like, once I stopped, I realized that I have all kinds of chronic pain problems that they're not from the kratom, they're just from like conditions that I just have. I mean, I'm looking for alternate solutions. I've tried Protandim. I did a review. I tried it for a couple weeks. It was helpful, but I don't like swallowing pills. I've taken collagen supplements also. It's also helpful. I mean, there are other things that I've been finding that are good for joint pain or for this or for that. But honestly, I'll be totally honest. I think that because I actually liked the kratom, because like as soon as I would drink it, I would have this like instant improvement in my mood and in my pain. So I was like more motivated to keep taking it. It's like, you know, when you like to drink coffee, I mean, imagine if the coffee like solves your arthritis pain, you're going to drink that coffee. But if somebody's like, here, take these 5 pills every day. Oh, I forgot to take my pills. You know, I just hate taking pills. Basically, hate doing anything if it's not fun. So I think that I was like motivated to take the kratom, drink the kratom tea every day, but I'm not so motivated to like be faithful to my vitamin and supplement regimen. So, I mean, I'm having to like find other solutions, but it's not fun, you know. And I guess that's just how it is. But I'm glad that I don't have to like dose myself with kratom like every 3 or 4 hours anymore. Because honestly, you know, whatever it is that you think of kratom, like you think it's great or you think it's horrible or whatever, having to like keep taking something every day all day just basically sucks. You know, you just realize like you just have to keep taking it all the time. It's like being addicted to cigarettes. Puff puff like all day, or like, I don't know, having to take antidepressants. I just didn't like that feeling that I was like dependent. And I also felt like, you know, maybe it blunts some of my emotional pain or my physical pain, but maybe it also blunts some of my ability to just experience things and like enjoy things. So, I mean, there's always a trade-off. I think it was like being on antidepressants, but I think it had like anti-inflammatory and pain-killing properties. Anyhow, that's what happened. Basically now, like, I've had like really bad ups and downs with pain and other problems for the last, you know, X amount of time, and I'm looking for solutions. Basically just like every other middle-aged woman out there. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's like I just like have to deal with like my encroaching health problems like everybody else, you know. And kratom, I guess it seemed like an easy solution, but definitely there's a downside. Anyhow, that's it. I just want to give you an update. That's the cringy truth. That's what happened. I hope it's helpful to you to know this in some way, and I didn't just expose myself to everybody for nothing, you know. So that's it. Yeah, God bless. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.